We are ready to fill molds, and the easiest way is a bit at a time with your hands. Just start filling the bottom and pat it down a little bit to get into the nooks and crannies. These are greased molds. Now, what you want to do is just simply cover these lovely molds with their tops, their lids, and seal them up so we can put them in our water. And the water should be simmering at this point before you lower them in very carefully. We're going to get some oven mitts and go over to the stove. Alright, at the stove we have a pot of simmering water with the little steamer basket on the bottom to hold this mold off the bottom of the pot. And I carefully lower this into the center of the pot, and the water will come back to a simmer, and you control the heat just low, and you want it just turn it low when it comes back to a simmer, because you don't want a huge rolling boil that's going to bubble up tons of water into under the lid of the pudding. Okay, we've been cooking and steaming away for 6.5 hours, and I'm going to show you how I add water when the water level gets low. I pour with a tea kettle just on the side like this to get it back up to its height that it was at originally. I use warm, like basically as hot water as I can get in the tea kettle, and that just keeps the temperature even in the pot, so it doesn't have to take as long to start simmering again when we add water. Now we're going to check our smaller pudding mold, because that one probably won't need a full 8 hours. It's going to probably need just hopefully 6.5, and we should be done. Okay, this is the smaller pudding mold. I have my mitts on, and I grab the little top hook and I carefully lift it out of the water and put it on a thick plate. And I will set it over to the counter on a hot pad, and we will check. Okay, most lids these days have a little marker, a little hand with a little finger pointing where to go ahead and open them. I get a little leverage with my arm, and I have my mitts on, and then I open, just pull up on that area that has the little mark, the little hand. Now inside we have a beautiful pudding. It looks like it is done because it's not glassy or shiny any place. It's just slightly springy, not squishy or mushy, and looks like it's going to be ready to go. I'm going to let it sit for about 15 minutes and then take a little knife to around the edges slightly, and then we'll unmold and we'll see what we get. Okay, we're going to slightly loosen the edges of this pudding with a sharp knife. I just go around the edge and slide the knife in a little bit, and around the center just ever so slightly, and then we shall see what we can do with molding this pudding. I have another little plate here and I will turn it over. Oh, I just felt it go. It kind of go, you feel the ka-chunk. And very carefully I lift. Oh, it's perfect. Look at that. Hooray. See, as you can see, just about everything came out just beautifully. And just perfect shape. Okay, here is the moment of truth for pudding number 2. Voila. Oh, hooray, hooray, hooray. It's a very exciting moment, folks. When your pudding comes out perfect, it is a good day. Alright, we have our pudding, which is at room temperature, and we have a cheesecloth that we're going to wrap it in, and it needs to be moistened with a little brandy first. So put a little bit on and then just moisten it by squashing it a little bit with your fingers. And we don't want super soggy brandy. Too much brandy on this cheesecloth because it'll make the pudding soggy. Just enough to keep it moist and have it ripen for a number of weeks in the refrigerator. Okay, this is pretty moist, and turn it over. And wrap them up. And put a little more brandy on the cheesecloth. And then turn it back over. Now it's in our cheesecloth, nicely wrapped. And then we'll put a little tiny bit more brandy on the cheesecloth. If you see any dry areas, just pour a little bit on, knowing that it's gonna go work its way down. Gravity will take over and get below, going down, goes down. Okay, here is our saran wrap, plastic wrap, cling wrap, any brand will do. We need another. You know, long process, but it is so worth it. After it sits in the fridge for 4 weeks, you can put this in the freezer and it will stay for many, many months. In fact, I've used different puddings for over a year, and every 6 months or a year you can go back in the freezer and check to see that it's still moist. If it's not moist, put a little bit of, tiny bit of brandy on the cheesecloth, wrap it back up and put it back. So here's our foil, and what I like to do is often put them in a Ziploc bag and then stick it in the fridge for 4 weeks to ripen. There you go.